Hi there, Eddie.
Oh,
We have Nikki here, ready when you are.
yeah. Okay, far away. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Eddie. How are you?
I am okay. I'm struggling. I'm walking a bit at the moment, just trying to. My left leg keeps going out a bit, but you should know this because you do more than me. You're running more. You've already run more marathons than I have in the 63 and 63 days.
Yeah, I have. And just a couple of months ago, I took it to the treadmill like you and ran just over 1,000 miles on the treadmill. So I know what you're going through. I know all the aches and pains that you're going through as well. And I'm here to make sure that you keep going and that to say that it's all right, which I know you know anyway.
Well, you've already beat me on the marathons. Were you throwing in a gig after each marathon, though? That's the only.
No.
Ah,
See.
well. There we go. I'm being.
Got one up for me there. What I did was pass out after each marathon, so I don't know how you can continue on through the night, how you can make sense, because I certainly wasn't able to talk any sense. It was pretty much gibberish from the minute I got off the treadmill till the minute I got back on again.
Some of mine was gibberish. It's some of the shows. I actually fall asleep in the middle of lines. I've done this a number of times, and I've woken up saying lines about God making a bee with a sting that rips out its entrails, which is just a ridiculous idea. And then I just woke up and I was saying with big arms. I want big arms. I go, what the hell? That's nothing to do with a bee. So it is weird to fall asleep while standing up in mid while you're talking.
I've fallen asleep mid-eating, sort of face flat into my food. So the fact that you can get up and actually talk is pretty amazing stuff. Now, I heard you talk about you've got a toenail that's popped and is probably due to fall off at any stage soon. I'm going to imagine that you've lost several toenails. The question is, do you keep your toenails that fall off?
No way. No. Oh, well, actually, no. I kept my brother's, but that was a different thing. A bench fell on his toe, and I kept my tooth and his toenail and made them into cufflinks with a plastercraft set. But that was years ago. But with running, no, I just can't be dealing with them because it's just like blood and mess. But you keep yours, I take it.
Yeah, I do, and it seems to be. I'm not. It's not a popular choice by people when I've asked them before. Do you keep your toenails? I'm like, no, that's really gross. I'm like, well, okay, I'll stick to what I know works for me. So.
But did you keep them and you mount them, or you just keep them in a box, or what?
I keep them in a box with my child's teeth that when they lose their baby teeth. So I've got this little collection of pretty much like what you've got, the teeth and toenails.
Well, you're gonna have to put them into cufflinks as well, or something. But yeah.
For his 21st birthday, I might do that for him.
Yeah. So and were you doing things before 2017?
Yeah, I'd done this. I wanted to do. I wanted to do something big like multi-day marathons. And in 2010, I ran 7 marathons in 7 days. Now, this is the sort of like the thing is that at the time I wanted to do more. I wanted to do around about 30. That was the ones in my head. And I was told, no, it's impossible. No, you're not Eddie Izzard. I'm like, well, no, I'm not, but I want to give this a go. So I did the 7 and 7 in 2010, and it took me until 2017 to work up the courage and the belief again to give it a go and try the 63. I know when I've listened to you talk, is you talk more about it's the brain, it's the mindset, it's the belief, and the ability to keep going, and that's the stuff that I work on. The running part is just, it happens, and it doesn't mean that you don't train, but the mental stuff is the stuff that gets me through, and it's the thing that I work on the most, the belief that I can do this.
Yeah, it is interesting that I think the average person would think it's all about the body, but it seems to be all about the mind, dragging the body around.
Yeah.
And the 63 you did around the UK, How did you measure them? How did you choose where to go to make it 63?
Oh, so you could probably hear the Australian accent. I've been living here for about 20 years, but I wanted it to be a great big adventure. So that's why I call myself an adventure runner. It's where I can go, what I see. So I wanted this to be, a great big adventure, and I wanted to see the UK. And so I chose 63 different locations throughout the UK, all the most iconic places: John O'Groats, Land's End, David's. It was all about seeing the country, going on a running tour. It changed as the days went on, because obstacles got in the way. My van broke down. So it was all about adaptation and being resilient and finding ways to overcome all the obstacles. And before you know it, it was 63 days later.
And you say your van broke down all the time?
Yeah, van broke down in the first week, and had to get that repaired. So we had to sort of make decisions on how to get the van fixed whilst running a marathon every day and traveling.
Who was run? How did you do it with the van? Were you driving the van?
I didn't drive the van in the first couple of weeks. I wasn't capable of doing that. But after, so again, you mentioned earlier that your body gets used to these things, and it does take. I've worked out that it takes me about 500 kilometers to warm my body up to do this stuff. By the sort of about the third, fourth week, I was capable of driving, but in the first couple of weeks I wasn't. So I had my partner who was doing the driving, so it was a little team, it was a pretty awesome experience of getting around the country and also doing lots of runs. I also had the lovely opportunity of talking to kids at schools, and I know your reasons why is to encourage people to believe that they can and make the world a better place. And this is sort of the thing that I talk about as well, is that you talk to kids and they believe everything is possible.
Yes, we hope the next generation is coming through. I mean, I know there's a lot of bright and open-minded people who are color inclusive, gender inclusive, LGBT inclusive. They take a positive. Positive people have tried to give them permission to be open-minded and just take everyone as equals, whereas previous generations were coded, I think, to say white people are better than other people, and men should do this and women shouldn't do this, and LGBT people shouldn't be allowed to exist, and all this stuff that we've moved beyond. So I have hope for the next generations and the generation after that come through, that they can help us keep moving humanity forward. Yeah. We shall see. So I get the impression that when you did the 63, that you would drive somewhere that you like to be, and then you do a marathon in that area, and then you drive on. Is that how you did it?
That's pretty much how I did it. There was a couple of point A to point Bs, but it was mainly doing a big loop or several loops in the area, and then moving on to the next area. So there was a lot of driving in between the locations, because UK is quite a big place.
And so that must be really tricky, because you'd have to run the marathon and then drive on to the next place to be able to run the marathon the next day, yeah?
Yeah. So thankfully, like I said, my partner was there to do most of the driving, but on the occasions when I was by myself, I was able to drive, and the body gets used to doing these things, and it is absolutely amazing what it's capable of achieving. Yeah. Just keeping that in mind when you try and do things that seem that word impossible, and changing it to I'm possible, which is sort of the stuff that keeps me going. Is like, I want to find what's possible within me, and I dare say that that's the same thing that drives you as well.
Yes, well, I wanted to, if I'm going to raise money, I have to do things that are kind of out of the box. That's the thing. I kind of know I can do certain things like this, but if I'm trying to make a statement of difference, like running for Nelson Mandela, running around the UK, was always an underlying human political message of the fact that we're all different in the UK, but we're all in fact the same. In fact, everyone is the same. that's still making humanity great again. Nelson Mandela, what a amazingly positive person to have come out of 27 years in prison and be so without hatred. He just came out without hatred, which is an amazing feat to do. And then since then, it's the idea. Certain people in our country, maybe around the world, they're saying, "Come on, let's separate. Let's go back in time. Let's go back and separate back out in nationalism and." Our country's better than your country, and I just think the rest of us are all saying, well, no, let's make even stronger connections. So that's why I'm making connections from here to around the world to try and make humanity great.
That was one of the things that I grew up with, this idea that the world was my back garden, or I was meant to be here, and it was the whole of the world. And I learned as I got older that there were going to be places that I wasn't allowed to go to, certainly wasn't allowed to run in, and that's not the way the world should be. It should be this beautiful place that we all love, and we are all. It should all be there for us.
Yeah. So tell us about your early days. How did it start in Australia? How did you get from Australia to here, going to school, and in your career? How did that start?
That funny old thing called love brought me to the UK. But I'd had this dream that I wanted to travel around the world, and I was trying to find ways to make it happen. You stay placed in certain places for long periods of time. I've stayed here. I've raised my child here. He's 19, and but now I'm looking at what can I do? How can I do what I do? Which I found out that running is the thing that I'm pretty good at. How can I use that to sort of tick off my box, which is I want to travel around the world. I want to see the world, but also do good in the same instance, which is, raise money for charity. So, I do a similar thing to you, which is when I do these things, I raise money for charity. I talk about the causes, and if you put yourself through a lot of pain, people sort of connect with that and go, well, okay, we can buy into this. We can help in our way, which is the donation, which I've made sure that we've donated to your cause, and a very simple way to donate. So I'm gonna do your pitch for you, Eddie.
Yeah, do.
So you've got the two choices. You can text the word 10 to 70810, or you can text the word 20 to 70810, and that goes to the charities. Now, I know that you've got 5, but there may be more in the mix.
It just goes to the Make Humanity Great Again Fund. So they just send that in, and 10 will for £10, or you write 20 for £20, and it goes into the great big fund, and then it gets shared out accordingly to the 5 charities, which are Care International, Covenant House, Fair Share, Walking with the Wounded, and Unite to Combat Against Neglected Tropical Diseases. Quite a difficult list to reel off, but there you go. But there's also, tell them about from anywhere in the world what they have to do.
So they can text that to that number, is that right?
No, that's only for the UK phones, but if they want from anywhere in the world, do you have it written down there? I don't know if the first paragraph?
No, I haven't got that, sorry.
Oh, it doesn't say anything about just go to eddieizard.com and you can donate from it? Does it?
No.
Did they not send that to you? Because we've written out this little script. They didn't send that to you, no?
Oh, they probably did, Eddie, and I haven't written it down, and I haven't got my on. So I apologise, but I do know that if you go to your website, which is eddieizard.com, all the options to donate are there, and I've got people from Australia who are watching this, so you can donate from anywhere in the world. So please do.
Exactly, that's it, because we are a world program here, and if you have a UK phone, it's kind of a simple one, but even in the UK, you can donate anywhere. eddieizard.com, hit the donate button, boom, any credit card from anywhere, and you can do it. So thank you for that. That's great. But then I'm interested in Australia because I've played Australia many times. Where in Australia did you come from? Did you go to university? Did you do a standard career? If you did, what did you choose? If you didn't, what did you do? What was your job? Tell us about your early days.
Early days, I grew up in a place called Geelong, which is an hour south of Melbourne.
Okay.
And didn't do much. I loved sport. I did ballet as a young girl. I wanted to be a ballerina, and it didn't work out. Instead, I ended up being a fitness instructor, the fitness side has always been the thing that's in my background, and I would be encouraging people to look after themselves, look after their bodies. But the longer I did it, it was more the mindset. Why did people stop? Why did they not set these goals that they wanted to? What was the thing that was holding them back? And I started working more on setting goals and thinking about their dreams and their aspirations from a physical side, but the impact it had on the mental side as well. The more you accomplish, and it's your own personal accomplishment, then the stronger you feel and your self-belief, your self-confidence grows. And that was the thing that I started working on. And it came down to, I came to the UK, and I was sort of like, well, if I've been teaching this or encouraging other people to do this, it's time to sort of step up and do it myself. I'd had these ideas that maybe I'd be able to run multi-day marathons. At some point, you've got to give it a go, and that was sort of like the trigger of, I turned 50 and decided that, what was I waiting for, and started on the whole thing of, all right, let's see what I'm capable of doing, and ran the 63 marathons, and kept hitting those goals and going, all right, well, if I was able to do this, what else am I capable of doing, and how many people can I bring along the ride? So that's the sort of like the goals of how I got here. I absolutely love Australia. I love it. I love the UK as well. I ought to. I've lived here long enough. In 2017, I ran through the UK, and the next sort of step was, okay, if I've done that, what about Australia? How about I run across Australia?
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be the goal for 2020, and it didn't happen because of this lovely thing called COVID. And instead, I got myself on a treadmill. So that was how I ended up on a treadmill.
And did you find that mind-numbingly boring? Because this is why I'm talking to everyone. I find the talking is great, but the treadmill itself, hours and hours of it, you've got to have other stimulus, I find. How did you find it?
I did very similar to you, as I asked people to come and watch me all day and talk to me all day. So I had that going on, but yeah, the mindset was different. The brain numbingness is totally different as well. So that whole thing of understanding why you want to do these things, and falling back on that. So you've got this campaign that you're championing, and that will get you going and keep you getting up and going every day. You've talked about the fact that you're running on empty, but there's still something inside of you that is going to make you get up and go every single day.
Yeah, well, I just don't. I said this before. I tried and get it so that I'm too embarrassed to stop. I just try and use as many things as I can to stop me stopping. If I've told everyone I'm going to do it, people kind of get energized by that, and then if you suddenly stop, then that would be terrible. So I try. I don't want to do that, so I have to just struggle on, even though it's not much fun. I do look forward to the 1st of February and being able to relax.
Yeah, no, it's there is an end, which is always a driver for me, is that you know what you're about to do, and you're very lucky that you've got an end. So, and I know that a lot of the charities that you work for, the people that it helps, there's often no end in sight. So that's another reason for sort of going, well, I can endure this because these people here are enduring more.
Yeah, that's very true. And so the Australian one, will you do that when COVID goes away?
I'm very much hoping so. So I've got it in the diary for this year. It's going to be much later on in the year if travel allows it. But in the meantime, if I can't, then I've got a little backup plan, a little training run that I'm going to do, which is go for the 100 marathons in 100 days, Eddie. So
that will help for Australia.
Yeah, it's a little warm up.
Because Australia's going to be how many, do you think?
2,500 miles. So it's running a marathon and a half a day every day for 63 days. That's the goal. It's all about saying, well, what have I done before? What do I want to push myself to? And it has to be something a little bit more, a bit beyond what I've done, because there has to be that incentive of like, well, it has to be a challenge. What can I do? And it just seemed to sort of like step up and step up and step up. So I'm very much hoping that travel will allow it. If not, then I'll have run 100 marathons here in the UK again, and hopefully raise lots of money for charity and continue to do good.
And you'll continue that style of choosing places to do a circular marathon in and driving to them, or would you link them up together, or how does that work? In Australia as well, you do that?
Yeah, no, Australia is point A to point B. It's Perth to Sydney, but the plans for the UK is that there's again, this is all COVID allowing, is that I want to run in the 48 counties of England. So we've chosen 48 different locations in all the counties, and the marathons in between will be at home. Now, if we're not allowed to travel and I have to run at home, then I'll do 100 marathons in this one little area. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to run a marathon in each of the counties. We're doing it pretty simply, which is doing a 5K loop, usually in places so that people can join me and they're not put off with the idea that they'd have to run a full marathon. Perhaps if they only think that they can run 5Ks, they'll come and join. And what I've learned is that people come and they say, oh, I can only do this amount. And before you know it, they're running a lot further than they've ever run before. So that's hopefully the goal with this one.
Well, I'll say to you, have fun doing them, because I don't know if you do have fun. I occasionally have fun with these, but I find them a lot more grueling, I think. But I love stopping. People say, do you love running? I'm addicted to stopping rather than running, so I like doing the thing and finishing. So good luck with them all, and I'm sure you'll do it. I love the idea that you're going to go back to Australia and run across Australia. That sounds great. The point-to-point thing, that sounds a wonderful one. So, and are you staying COVID safe where you are? Yeah, I take it that your COVID situation in Nottingham, it's just like the rest of England, the rest of the UK. You're all locked down.
Very much so. I work from home, so I haven't really noticed a whole lot of difference. So I stay at home, work at home, and keep the idea in the mind that things will improve, they will change, and keep planning for the future. And that's why I'm sort of like planning the Australia, planning the 100, because there will be a time when things improve. So don't give up on your dreams and your hopes and your beliefs just because things aren't quite working well at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck with it. Stay safe, and thank you for dropping in with us and chatting with us.
Eddie, I've got one more question. So when I was doing the treadmill run, I named my treadmill. Have you called your treadmill a name?
No, I don't. I'm not romantic like that. It's a treadmill. It's getting me there. It's doing good. It's giving me a hard time because it's a treadmill, but yeah, I haven't.
That's how I felt with the treadmill when I first started running on it. But I connected with it, and it made it a little bit easier to turn up every day with my new friend. Right.
Well, I think that's probably a good idea, but I still think, I know me. This will be the machine that it's like the roads. When I was running the roads, I liked the roads. I got a one with the roads, but I didn't give them names. So we shall see. But I'll get through it.
But that's the difference between running on a treadmill, running outside, isn't it? You can lose yourself in outside.
Yes, absolutely. I do kind of prefer it, even though it can get wet and rainy and tough and cold. the outdoors is the one. But thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're obviously doing great stuff. Take care.
Thank you.
And have fun.
Okay, and we'll keep donating.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So now I have to take a break again. Sorry guys. Left leg is complaining, but it's strapped up, so it's sort of getting there. I need to pee. I can't. I never normally pee this.